Hey, everybody. Welcome to the True Crime Squad. I'm Christy Brower, here with my sister, co-host, and partner in crime, Katie Weaver. Hey, Katie.
Hello.
How's it going?
It's going pretty well. Yeah.
Glad to hear it. Glad to hear it.
Yeah.
Welcome to Wednesday Night Case Updates. This is our weekly live stream where we give you updates on as many of the cases that we've covered and even a few that we haven't.
Yeah.
As we can, we
And
can never get everything.
no, but we have got a list tonight. Wow.
We have a big list tonight. Yeah.
So much going on.
And
Well,
that's
it's
after
crazy.
the big update in the Vallow case yesterday. So,
Well, yeah, especially considering that there's more updates today. It's just happening so fast.
yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff happening, but they're very much prepping for the trial itself and for jury selection.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've seen a bunch of filings. Most of them are kind of, they don't really matter a lot, but they do, kind of show us that they're getting, this trial is happening and it is happening very soon.
Mm-hmm.
So
Very soon.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that is not the only case we have updates in.
No.
We have updates in a lot of things.
Yeah.
So let's start though with Vallow real quick. We're not going to do a ton.
Yeah.
But let's talk. Let's start with well, take a look at this picture that someone posted online. If you look right in the back there, that would be Lori.
Mm-hmm.
This is right around Burley, Idaho, today while she was being transported from the Madison County Jail to the Ada County Jail. So, transport is happening. She had to be there no later than the 24th. So, they got her there a couple days early.
Yep. So I would imagine she's at, Ada by dinner.
Yeah. Yeah. She's probably there pretty close to now.
Probably. The picture was taken about 3 hours ago.
Yeah. So, yeah, she's there. Interesting things going on.
Yep. So she's probably getting booked right now. And I would assume there'll be a new mugshot and
there will be
some of those things available probably by tomorrow. But yep, she's checking into hell right now.
She is. Yep. Yeah, she is.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to be as cushy as where she's been. That's for sure. Right? Janet says, can you imagine the conversation in that car? Right? Should be very interesting. Amy says, just in time for some Hot Pockets. That's funny. Yeah. Yes, and it is very sad that Tammy's parents, so Tammy Daybell, Chad's wife, who was also murdered and is part of this, her murder is a part of this case.
Yeah.
Her parents had requested a live stream to them directly because they're elderly and not well and want to, see justice served for their daughter. And the judge said no.
Yeah.
Which is crappy. So they're going to have to try to then travel to Boise and stay there for all that time and stuff. And that's not fair.
No, it's terrible.
I think the victims' families get forgotten quite a lot in these situations.
Well, the Woodcocks put out a very angry statement yesterday.
Yeah.
And said it's just a stab in the heart to them that this is going on, that the death penalty was taken off the table. And of course it is. Of course it is.
Yeah.
It's awful.
It is. It would be very painful if this was your family, going through this.
Yeah.
Most definitely. Everything else that was filed today it's a lot about jury selection and it's about sealing the witness list and evidence list. So we will not get to see that.
Yep.
Which we haven't seen anything filed in relation to the motion in limine from yesterday in court that was addressed, and the judge said that he was going to file that in writing. But it's possible we won't get to see it because it is witness and evidence. And
Yeah.
so it may be that that has actually happened, but it's not happening in a way that we can see it.
Yep. Yep. So we won't get to know. She probably thinks she will get freed. I actually think that's absolutely true. I
Yeah,
have
that
thought
is
for
the
a long
impression we
time,
have.
is that she really believes that when trial is over, she'll finally be free to go home. However, Lori has no home to speak of. Uh,
Mm,
but she does have family, and so I do really think that that's true. I suspect that she
mhm.
thinks that once court's over, she'll be walking out of there. I still think that.
Yeah, I do too. It's pretty delusional,
Well, just from her
but
behavior in court, she
yeah,
acts so blasé. She doesn't act contrite at all. She doesn't act like
like
there's
she's
anything serious happening here.
right. She doesn't act fearful or worried or anything like that.
Yeah, yeah,
So we shall see. But that's the main update with her. Nothing really major. They're just doing their filings right now that are for jury selection. Jury selection starts next week.
hmm
So we'll we'll be keeping an eye on that. We're not going to attend any of that. We won't start attending until the trial actually
yep,
begins.
yep,
But I'm sure we'll get some updates from the press that we can share with you about, what's
yeah,
going on in jury selection, that kind of thing.
yep, for sure. But now we know for sure she is out of Madison County.
She is. It's an interesting thing to have her gone from here.
Right.
Okay, so we have a bunch of stuff. Two really things I'm very excited about. I want you to talk about, Katie, but one of them is about the murder of little Millie Old Crow.
Yes.
So tell us about that.
Oh, this is such a big one, and it is so near and dear to my heart. We ran our first story on this case a couple of years ago,
Yeah,
and this was about a little girl named Millie Old Crow or Mildred Old Crow that had gone missing on the Crow Nation. And eventually, she was listed as a missing person. And then eventually, a travel trailer had been, like an abandoned one, had been uh, seized. And they discovered inside of that a tote with the body of a child in it that turned out to be Mildred Old Crow. So this is Mildred or Millie and her caregivers. So we finally, at the time, the caregivers were charged in tribal court with some custody and failure to provide support stuff.
yeah,
They both went to jail for 18 months and had a $2,000 fine, and they're already out. And there
yeah,
have never been any murder charges. And I've been so pissed off about it because this baby deserves justice.
yeah.
Well, unbelievably, finally, a few days ago, they have both been charged.
That's so fantastic.
So here's what we know. Their names are Rosine Lincoln Old Crow and Veronica Tierza Dust. And they both had been made custodians of Millie because her uh, custodial parent wasn't able to take care of her. And so what we haven't known is what the hell happened to this poor little thing.
Right.
Well, now we know, according to the probable cause affidavit, that they were awarded custody in March 2017. In June 2020, a call was made. She would have been 3 at the time. A call was made or 2.5, 3. Anyway, in June 2020, a call was made to Montana Department of Public Health and Human Services saying that the child hadn't been seen since July 2018.
Oh man.
And then another call was made. I'm off on her age. Don't worry about that. She was 6 when she died. On July 2018, another call was made, had also been made. And then in November 2020, another report that no one had seen her for a couple of years.
Mm,
So finally, that kicked off a missing persons investigation. Well, apparently, see, we haven't known what happened during the custodial interference trial in tribal court because that's not public knowledge. That those things don't get released to the public the way our courts typically do. And so we have not known what happened in that trial. Apparently, at that time, Tears of Dust said that she died in the bathtub.
Mm.
And they also said that at that time, Old Crow's brother was killed in a car accident and that they went on a several day bender. And that's when Millie died. They also apparently said that they left her body in the bathtub for an unknown amount of time until the remains started to smell.
Oh,
Then
God.
they dressed her, wrapped her in a plastic bag, and put her in a plastic tote, taped it shut, and then put it in that travel trailer from February 2019 or April 2019 to February 2021 when it was found. Yeah.
Jesus.
The autopsy that was conducted found a head laceration, a right tibia fracture, and evidence of habitual abuse and malnutrition.
Mm.
Yeah.
Poor little thing.
So that's that that's all the evidence that they have, or not all of it, but what they had in the affidavit, the probable
Mhm.
cause. They are both charged with wrongful death, or it's not wrongful death. It's anyway, they're both charged with murder and also with hiding a corpse or something along those lines. So if they're convicted, they both face anywhere from 10 to 100 years for felony deliberate homicide. And then a $50,000 fine. And then they also are charged with the felony tampering with evidence charge. So it's felony deliberate homicide and felony tampering with evidence. I am so excited to see this. I'm so happy
Yeah.
that there is finally justice for Millie.
Yes,
It's a terrible case, just a terrible case. So
it
anyway,
is, but
what
it needed to not be ignored.
no, what a unexpected surprise, and I'm so happy for it. So
Yeah,
thank goodness.
I am too. It's a relief to know that no one she wasn't forgotten about.
Yeah. Yep. Because it sure felt that way for a while. Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about Josh Duggar. I know no one
Oh
really wants to
lordy.
talk about him, but sometimes
Josh F. Duggar. Here we
right.
go.
So we know a while back he got in trouble. He was found with a cell phone in federal prison.
Yeah.
He's in there for child porn charges. So you can only imagine what the cell phone was for. Gross jackass.
Mm-hmm.
So they have extended his sentence by 2 months for the cell phone. That's his. That's his punishment. Is he'll serve 2 extra months in prison.
Right. Well, part of it. I mean, it does erase his good time served.
Well, yes, yeah.
Yeah.
He doesn't get his good behavior and all of that
Mm-hmm.
stuff, but it will for
But he also
now.
doesn't get visits from Anna for a good long time
Yeah.
because he's lost all privileges, and
Yep.
he will still stay in the uh, the higher lockdown in
Right,
intensive.
because he's
Yeah,
not
can't be
showing that
trusted.
he's a
Yeah,
model prisoner. Yeah.
yeah,
So,
for a
yeah, he's
good long
definitely still
time.
getting consequenced in the prison. Plus, they've extended his
Yeah.
sentence by two
But
months.
yeah, the 2
So,
months I don't understand. I also would be curious to know if this affects his appeal because his
well,
attorneys are out there filing his appeal at the same time he's in jail breaking the rules with electronics.
I'm sure it will come up.
Hmm. But
How did
also,
he get the phone? There's a lot of contraband in prisons, and there's
hmm
a lot of thing. There's a whole underground black market for stuff, and
hmm
it happens. Unfortunately, I think quite a bit more than we know. And what was
yeah,
he using it for? That we don't know exactly.
hmm
He doesn't have any more charges at this point, which makes me think he didn't actually have any child pornography on the phone.
hmm
And maybe it was just being used to stay in contact with his wife. I don't know.
I'm guessing. But if he was texting Anna and she was texting him on what she knew to be an illegal phone, could she have charges?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I'm
Yeah.
not sure about that.
Yeah. Yes, Paula, that is actually something that's come up a lot, that a guard may
Hmm.
have rented it to him, that it's really the
Yes.
guards a lot of times that are bringing this shit in
Well, it is.
and
I mean, there's
selling
only
it or
one way to
renting
get
it.
things in, and that is
Mhm.
through staff who come
Yeah.
and go. And so there is a question about that, yes, because there are things that can be rented from
Yep.
employees, and it's a
Mhm.
bad deal. It
Yep.
is Texas, yeah. Ugh,
He said he was using it for appeals. Well, good luck there, Josh.
yeah.
Someone
Good
who's
luck,
not
dude.
allowed to have any access to the internet for
But hey,
the
any
whole
amount
time
of
you're in
time
prison.
longer he's kept in prison, the world
Yes,
is a safer place.
for
So
sure.
for that, I am grateful.
Yep. And this is just the beginning of little
Yeah.
Joshy Duggar, who thinks that he's above the rules and always has, and clearly still does.
Yes. So, Katie, there's some pretty big news coming down with the Stephen Smith case.
Oh my
So
gosh.
let's hear some about that.
So last week we shared with you guys a link to a GoFundMe from Stephen Smith's mom, Sandy. Now, Stephen Smith is the boy that died near the Murdoch property. We've talked about this into infinitum. You've got to know what we're talking about. Likely you do. And who he died in 2015. And there was a very short investigation. He was on a country road. He died in the middle of the road. The at first they said he was hit by a car, or that maybe he was hit in the head by the a mirror of a car, and they came up with literally nothing. And it was a very brief investigation that turned up not very much. There
It was one of
was
those real quick, rushed, hurried
mhm,
under the rug, a little like Gloria Satterfield kind
mhm,
of situations.
yes. And there was some talk at that point about Buster Murdaugh. Now, I want to be very clear. We are not accusing Buster Murdaugh, but
No,
because
because old
he's getting
Buster's
super
real pissed
litigious.
about this.
hmm
Yeah,
He's now put out some statements to the press to leave him the hell alone. He had nothing to do with this. He doesn't want to hear about it anymore. And that's whatever, Buster. That's up to you. We're not saying that he had anything to do with it, but we are saying that he was named as someone in the area at the time.
right.
And there was a trooper at the time that said that Buster was on their radar
Yeah,
surrounding Stephen's case. That's all we know. But we do know that they didn't work very hard to solve this case since Stephen was buried and it was just over and they just put it to bed. And his mother would really like some answers. So
right.
after Paul and Maggie were murdered, Sled said that they were going to open up a new investigation. But they haven't necessarily. Well, we thought they hadn't. There hasn't really been any motion. His mom hasn't really heard anything. So she finally, after Alec was convicted, she decided to start her own GoFundMe and see if she could put together enough funds to have Stephen's body exhumed and have a proper autopsy
Yeah,
because it was just completely insufficient what was done.
yeah. It was treated like an accident, and it wasn't.
Yeah. So she started this GoFundMe with the hope of making $15,000. Well, a bunch of people who, like podcasters that were particularly interested in the Murdoch case, like Mandy Matney and some of the others, they really elevated her GoFundMe. We did too.
Mhm,
That's not for nothing, but but it probably is. But it's fine.
mhm.
but eh, the GoFundMe went crazy and his is now sitting at over $80,000. And Sandy, being the darling human she is, has said that what she wants to do is use any money she has remaining for after whatever she pays for a PI and an autopsy and whatnot to help pay for books because Stephen was a nursing student and they were a low income family and he had a really hard time paying for his books. And so
Um,
she wants this money to go to pay for books for college students, which I think is the
um,
sweetest thing I've ever
that
heard
is
in my
very
life.
sweet.
But anyway, all of that being said, SLED has now announced that they are treating this as a homicide.
Yeah,
So there's big questions. Is this because they have been doing some investigating behind the scenes? Are they going to pay for an autopsy? and go ahead and get this done like it should have been done a long time ago. A
Right.
lot we don't know, but what we do know is that they are now calling his death a homicide, and there is an active investigation into it.
Yeah.
So, really, really good news. We're very excited for Sandy and
Hmm.
really, really hoping that Stephen gets justice.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think anytime a young person just dies like this and gets brushed under the rug, that is the meanest thing you could possibly do to their families.
Yep,
And so, for whatever happened to Stephen, we're happy that there's some actual energy around seeking justice for him.
absolutely. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep. So that's what's up.
absolutely. Oh boy, hang on. I'm gonna sneeze. Why don't you
Oh.
tell us about
I was just checking the Ada County roster to see if Lori is on it.
Oh yeah.
She's not yet, but it may take a little time to get her signed in. So we'll keep
Yeah.
an eye on it.
It's coming.
Oh yeah,
It'll be there.
it'll
Okay,
be there by morning. Yeah.
I wanted to tell you about a new case. A grand jury has just indicted 10 people in the death of a man while he was in the hospital. He was in police custody, but he was in a hospital.
Hmm.
And um, he was clearly having some kind of a breakdown. And 10 people pinned that guy to the ground and held him down until he was dead.
Yeah.
It was a bunch of police, but it was also hospital personnel.
Hmm.
And I'm going to cover this case next week, so I'm not giving you a bunch of information, but there's real George Floyd vibes here. Like they pinned him and held him down until somebody realized that he wasn't breathing. And so then they jumped in and tried to shock him and do CPR and stuff. And it was just too late. They had, you know, compressed him to the point that he died because he couldn't breathe.
Hmm.
I don't know what the hell's the matter with people. I don't know why people think it takes 10 people to hold someone down.
Yeah.
Horrifying. So
Yeah.
we're going to cover that case much more in depth next week, but I just wanted to give you a little teaser that that's something that is coming.
Yeah.
But these 10 people were just indicted by a grand jury. So this is something that happened a while back, and there's been some investigation into it. And I'm really grateful that we're seeing these cases start to see the light of day.
Yeah.
We told you about a case a few weeks ago of a man who was experiencing a medical emergency. He couldn't stand up, and the police and the paramedics sort of drug him out of the house on a sheet, laid
Yeah.
him face down on a gurney, and he died.
Yeah.
They didn't give him any medical care. They wouldn't bring the gurney in the house to put him on it. And then they laid him on his face, and he just laid there and suffocated. And the
Unbelievable.
police and 2 paramedics just let that happen.
Yeah.
This kind of stuff is just so disgusting. And the lack of just basic human
Humanity.
decency
Yeah.
is just unbelievable. So
Yeah.
we're going to cover this case in depth next week, but I just wanted you to
Yeah.
know if you've seen anything about it. They were indicted, and I'm really grateful for that.
Good. Yep.
Right, Sadie. Me too. Sadie says, as a mother of a child with mental health and behavioral issues, this is terrifying to me. Right? The
Yeah.
idea that you can restrain somebody to the point of just pinning them to their death.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
No. No, I'm so glad that there are charges.
Yeah, I am too. And there have to be. We have to start having, there's got to be better accountability, especially for medical personnel
Mm-hmm.
who damn well know better, and
Mm-hmm.
police, because police are just kneeling on people like they think that
Mm-hmm.
that's okay. If you pin somebody down and hold them down, they can't expand their lungs and they
Yeah.
die.
I mean, how hard is that to figure out?
I would think that's basic knowledge
Pretty
as an
basic.
adult.
And
Yeah.
as people who should have been trained in mat training in proper restraints.
Well, yeah,
They
they've all
they
had
should they
restraint
have been trained.
training.
Yeah.
But no way ever on the planet of Earth do you need 10 people to take down one person.
Hell
It's
no.
such overkill.
Mm-hmm.
Amy said we had something similar happen where I live. The police actually drug him out of the hospital where he was trying to get help, and he died at the jail. Oh my God.
Oh,
Jesus. So
that's
we're gonna
terrible.
we're gonna be talking about this
Yeah.
next week. But in the meantime, Katie, why don't you tell us about what's going on with Aiden Fucci and his sentencing hearing?
Aiden F. Fucci. You guys, do you remember Aiden? This is the 14-year-old
He's hard to forget.
who murdered his 13-year-old friend, Tristan Bailey. He's 16 now. Tristan would be 15 now, I believe. And he finally, right before he was supposed to go to trial, hey, Betty, right before he was supposed to go to trial a couple of months ago, he flipped things around and pled guilty.
Yeah.
So it's been sentencing for him this week. But I'll refresh your memory here with a couple of pictures. Uh, this is Aiden and his mother, because his mother also caught a charge because she grabbed his jeans when he got home and washed all the blood out of them
Yeah.
and tried to help cover for him, which will really probably rattle your chain a little bit when I show you this video here in a second that we saw in the first day of sentencing. But this is lovely Tristan. She was a cheerleader. She was a doll. She was an absolute angel in her family. She was by far the youngest. And her siblings, they're quite a bit older than her. And they did an absolutely phenomenal job in court this week. The victims' impact statements have been really, really powerful. They did an amazing job. And I couldn't be more impressed by this family, the way the entire Bailey family carried themselves. As for the Fucci family, you motherfuckers should not get on the stand and give victim impact statements. You shouldn't. You shouldn't. I'm sorry, you're not victims. Maybe you
No.
think you are. I it's not their fault that he did this, but for her family to have to listen to their bullshit on the stand, I don't even know how they did. His
Right.
grandmother, Judge, we're a good Christian family. We pray all the time. And I hope you take that
Uh,
into account when you sentence my grandson.
oh my
Are you
God.
kidding me?
What?
And also, please don't take him away from us forever, Judge. We know he needs to be punished, but please don't take him away from us forever. I'd like to be able to spend some time with this boy before I leave this earth.
Oh my God.
Shut up and get out. Oh my
Right?
God. I just cannot. I cannot. I
Mm-mm.
don't know how families sit and listen to that stuff without losing their absolute shit. Sometimes they do, and there's
Mhm.
outbursts in the courtroom and stuff. But
That's so disgusting.
one of the things we saw yesterday, a detective had shared a video, and this is just a little piece of it, of Aiden and his parents in an interrogation room the day after he was arrested, and a snippet of a conversation that they had. And so I'm going to share it with you only because I think it kind of helps to share just how cold this boy, what a sociopath this boy is, that there is no remorse.
You did. It's not very smart. Blah, 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 blah. Now we have people want to burn our house down, our cars down. Because of that Snapchat thing you did. It's all over. You're all over the internet and everywhere. Social media. It's on social media. You'll probably come stay with me after we get done with this. Just for your well safe being. This is serious. It's very serious. This is no joke. This is your whole life. Your whole life. And ours. And ours. And your brothers and sisters. And don't forget they can't go to school tomorrow. Why? Because the kids will hurt them.
Man, no reaction at all out of that kid.
Nothing. But this is our life and your brothers and sisters, and they can't go to school tomorrow. And he goes, why? She says, because the
Yeah.
other kids will hurt them. Oh, well, first of all, again, I have no words. But she did have to move. She had to move and pull her kids out and put them in a different school because, everyone
I would
knew what their
imagine.
brother did. Uh,
Well, and she aided him, and
she
so
aided him and has charges from aiding him. So it's hard for me to watch that video Right. Dad's wiping away tears. Dad and mom are divorced. This is bio dad that he has been loosely involved here, but God, it's awful. Was there any reason for the murder? He still has not given any reason at all. No.
No.
His friends still, have said that he loved knives and talked a lot about killing somebody. And that's the best they've got. He didn't really have anything.
I kind of doubt there was a reason other than he wanted to see what it felt like to kill somebody. I mean, he's a psychopath. That's
Yep, I think so too. Now there is a letter that he wrote to the judge.
oh yeah.
Dear Judge Smith, my name is Aiden Fucci. I am 16 years old. First off, I want to say that I'm sorry. I'm sorry for all the pain I caused to the Bailey family. I'm sorry to the friends, brothers, sisters, mom, dad, and any other family relatives. I'm sorry that you didn't get to know her that long. You did not have any long relationships with Tristan, and for that, I'm sorry. For the community, I'm sorry I brought all this pain on everybody, and I'm sorry, and I know my apology will not fix anything or bring her back, but I hope it helps in some way. And for my dad, I'm sorry that he had a bad spot in his work because of me. I miss being outdoors with my dad and brothers. I miss the fun we had, like four-wheeling, paintballing, going on long car trips. Dad, you made things fun, like the tarp to the four-wheeler, so when we could slide off the tarp behind. Dad, you're special because you made fun out of nothing. Love you. To my mom, I want to send my apologies as well. I'm sorry she had to move her house because people were sending threats to the house and my family, and that my little brother and sister had to change schools because of me. Mom, I miss your lemon pepper chicken. I miss your hugs. I miss you. The longer I'm in here, the more I forget, the more memories I lose. I'll never forget you loved me, Aiden Fucci. That was his apology letter to the court.
Pretty
It was all about him.
yeah. Well, and he was, that this is defense attorneys recommend this kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think that kid's sorry at all.
Yeah. That there's
He's sorry for
not a
what
lot of
he's
contrition
missing,
there.
but
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yep. The one thing that one of the sisters did that I thought was just amazing, and I think that something like this could be replicated in a lot of cases like this that I thought was really cool and powerful. She came to the stand. She put a vase or a clear glass jar on the table, and she dropped one at a time 114 teal stones into the jar. Why? Stone hearts. Because Tristan was stabbed 114 times.
Jesus.
So she put 114 stones to represent the 114 stab wounds that her sister endured. And then a lot of other people who came to the stand, that was allowed to stay on the stand, and a lot of other people that came added hearts to it of different colors. Just kind of created this piece, this memorial piece there. I think for all to look at and think about what happened to Tristan and
Well, and you think about like how long it took her to drop 114 in there.
And then she unapologetically did it. She wasn't rushed. She was very calculated about it. She did all of that. I thought that was pretty amazing. But I thought that was a great idea, actually. The Bailey family was amazing. They really were. And the friends as well. I mean, they gave them 2 whole days for victims' statements.
Oh, good. They should.
Yep. So it sounds like the judge is taking a day off to deliberate, and then the sentence will come down on the 24th on Friday. So we'll know more then. Because he is a minor. I mean, he's only 16. He can't get life, but he can get a minimum of 40 years.
A minimum of 40?
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be 40 or more?
It'll be 40 or more. It's supposed to be.
Wow.
It'll be 40 or more, but that at 25, the judge would normally.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. I mean, I hope he gets all of those 40 years. Even then, he'd be out at 56.
Wow.
Or a little less with time served, and who knows what else the courts pull. So who knows? But he could be out around 50 years old. And I think that's pretty terrifying. Yep.
Wow.
Amy. Amy said, excuse me, Grandma better hang on a while if she wants to see him get out.
Right? It's not going to be anytime soon.
This is true. Well, I hope he gets the maximum and that the thing is, since he's been in juvie, they've had a whole bunch of trouble with him, making threats, death threats, racial slurs, just starting fights. He's done a
Yeah.
whole bunch of shit since he's been in there. I don't see this kid getting out on good behavior anytime soon. So there's that. But anyway, awful case. But
Yeah.
all the love to the Bailey family because I cannot imagine how excruciating the last few days have been.
No, I'm sure not. I'm glad for them that this is over.
Mm-hmm.
People need things to be over,
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, no surprise he's having trouble while incarcerated. No,
Yeah.
I mean, you think about what this kid did at 16 years old.
14 years
or
old.
at 14 years old.
Yeah.
Jesus, that is
The
insane.
rules don't apply. Yep.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to update you. You all probably remember, we've talked about it. We haven't fully covered this, but we've talked about it some. The boy named Aiden Stauch, who was found in a suitcase. His body was found in a suitcase under a bridge in Pace, Florida.
Yeah.
This was a little while ago. So it was in 2020. His mother was arrested and charged with his murder. Oh, his stepmother, sorry, Leticia. And so they're trying to charge her, they're trying to try her for his murder. And there have been a lot of problems with that because of her mental health. And so a report came out this week that, according to the latest sanity report provided by Dr. Dorothy Lewis at the defense's request, Stauch was in a psychotic state around the time that Gannon died. The report arrived around 7 months after the defense requested an independent assessment, and a year after previous sanity reports. So she's been reviewed a bunch of times because they really are questioning, is she actually sane? Can she really stand trial? What are we going to do with her? There are a lot of questions like this. So there were several reports prior to this one that found her to be sane. And this is coming right before trial. And so the prosecution's really mad about it and saying that it's way too close to time for court to deal with it. And the court is actually in jury selection right now. So I don't know what's going to happen in this case, but I think that it's pretty clear that there are a lot of questions about her mental health, if she really even can stand trial for this. So what they did say, if you remember, is that he had been stabbed, shot, and beaten in their home in January of 2020, and this was in El Paso County, Colorado. And that was in January 2020. Several months later, his body was found in a suitcase beneath the bridge in Pace, Florida.
Uh-huh.
So she had transported him that far away and left his body. She is a piece of work.
Uh-huh.
She is. I think they're going to struggle with her forever about what to do with her, where to keep her. But this latest psychiatric evaluation says that she was not sane at the time of the murder. Some of the others have said she is. I don't know. It's a big mess. It's going to be a big mess.
Oh, this trial.
Yeah.
Well, because the court had to put out an order saying that they will bring her to court come hell or high water. That if they have to restrain her or whatever, they'll drag her ass in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is going to be something.
Attending. Yeah, she's not cooperative at all. So
this is going to make the Darrell Brooks trial look like child's play.
Probably, yeah. Except she does have attorneys.
Hopefully she has a better job controlling her facial, or does a better job controlling her facial expressions than Gwyneth Paltrow has so far, but we'll
Oh my
see.
God. Have you guys seen that?
Could she look more entitled, bored, special if she tried?
Ignorant little shit came to mind.
She's not doing herself any favors.
She is not. Yikes.
Yeah. Yeah,
Right.
she moved the body 2 times, said she was going to represent herself. I know. I'm struggling with that too, Jessica.
Yeah.
It's going to
I
be
mean, she
very
is not a well
interesting.
person, that's for sure. But
No.
you know, was she insane at the time of the murder? That's questionable. Janet, you know what? I thought this very same thing about Gwyneth Paltrow. She's got such an RBF because she's so hungry. Because did y'all see that ridiculous interview with her about how she fasts for 18 hours a day, drinks nothing but black coffee till noon, and then has a lunch of bone broth, which is not a lunch, and then eats a few vegetables for dinner? It's completely ridiculous. Yeah, I'm kind of surprised Gwyneth Paltrow has enough strength to stand up, because she also does many hours of exercise a day. Like she's not in a good place at all.
Maybe she has a yoni egg stuck where the sun don't shine. I don't know. It's just a thought.
Yes, the celery juice, right? I forgot it.
Oh, yes.
A lot of celery juice. I don't know why.
That too is a meal, probably. Yeah.
In her world, I've seen several nutritionists on social media going, "Don't eat like this. It will kill you. This is ridiculous." Like this, she's insane. Yeah.
Maybe because she's so hungry.
Oh, Amy says maybe the goop diet will become a new defense. Yes, she does the yoni steaming. Oh my God. I know way more about her yoni than I ever wanted to know. Lord. But yeah.
I think it's safe to say it is not golden.
No, not at all. Not at all. Katie.
Probably rusty from all that steaming, but whatever.
Probably, actually. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what's going on in the Zechariah Anderson case?
Oh, Zechariah Anderson got sentenced. All right, we talked about this case last week. This is the guy who was accused of murdering his ex's new boyfriend, stalking him with his children in the car, and then the guy disappeared. And of course, they had his DNA in Zechariah Anderson's van, and this is the 14-year-old daughter that got on the stand and got super sassy and to that absolute bitch of a defense attorney, and then blurted out that the gun they were asking her about had also been held to her head, which nearly caused a mistrial. And yeah, it's been quite the belligerent blood circus.
Zipping your lip.
That I have a video of that to remind you. We showed you this last week, but I'm going to show you again. This is the fool who did this. Yes, reminding his daughter to zip her lip while she was testifying. Why didn't he get in trouble for that? I really don't know.
Get in trouble for that?
Real tough to say. However, today this happened. It's a little bit hard to hear. Turn it up.
In re the matter, State of Wisconsin versus Zechariah Joseph Anderson, as to the first count of the information, we, the jury, find the defendant, Zechariah Anderson, guilty of stalking Sadie Beecham as charged. As to the second count of the information, we, the jury, find the defendant, Zechariah Anderson, guilty of stalking Rosolio Gutierrez as charged. As to the third count of the information, we, the jury, find the defendant, Zechariah Anderson, guilty of intentional homicide of the first degree as charged. As to the fourth count of the information, we, the jury, find the defendant, Zechariah
Boom, bitch.
Well, I
Guilty
love
on all
this for him.
charges.
I love this for him.
I love every second of this
Shithead.
to him. One of the
Ugh.
things that cracked me up is that the judge gave a big talk about there will not be any outbursts or we'll drag you out of here. There was. No one drug anyone out of there.
Well, and this is Kyle Rittenhouse's judge, right?
Yes. This is Judge Schroeder. Yep, in Wisconsin. Yep. Yeah, he did not look too upset. He was pretty stone-faced. His attorney did kind of turn finally and look at him. I'm pretty sure that'll be his first jailhouse girlfriend. The way those two have flirted with each other all the way through this trial has been beyond concerning.
Gross. Ugh.
And hard yikes. Oh, wow. But there you have it. She's the one who did not know that if you tangle with a 14-year-old, you are definitely going to get stung.
Yeah. Hello. Have you not met a teenage girl before?
Apparently not. She asked the daughter a question and then turned and started talking to Zechariah. And the daughter started to answer the question, and then she sat there irritated and said, I don't even think you're listening.
I love it.
Well,
you will
she
never be owned harder than you will be by a teenage girl.
and she was a rock star on the stand. She was unflappable. But she got upset. Of course she did. This is so sucky, but at any rate, I'm so happy to hear it.
Own safety and well-being, her dad is going away.
Yeah.
Total trash.
Yep, he has terrorized that poor family. So thank God he's done.
Yeah.
Yep. So his sentencing will be in May.
Well, hopefully he gets absolutely everything that he deserves.
Yeah.
I think he will.
Let us hope.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, a little update in Rasheem Carter. Rasheem Carter.
Yes.
This was just our newest episode.
Mm-hmm.
So far, authorities are saying that they cannot determine a cause of death for him. They don't have all of his body. They don't have all of his body parts, but they are saying that they cannot determine whether or not this is foul play, which I just think is sad. And are we ever going to see any,
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand how being dismembered and scattered about the wilderness isn't enough to be considered foul play.
Right.
He didn't do that to himself.
Oh, they're not saying he did. They're saying he stumbled out there high or crazy or something and just got dehydrated and passed out and just succumbed. This healthy 25-year-old man. Sure, that's what happened.
Yes.
And then probably coyotes.
Only minorities in this country do.
Yes.
Only the BIPOC community is apparently. I mean, Rebecca Plentywounds, right here on the Fort Hall Reservation in Idaho, apparently did dismember herself.
According to authorities.
So ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was fed to the hogs. But yeah, how do you get fed to the hogs if he just died out in the wilderness?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
His ghost then drug his body to the pen? I just don't think so.
Yeah. Hard to imagine.
Yeah, suicide by dismemberment. That must be a new fad. Well, it's about it makes about as much sense as Ellen Greenberg, who, her death was ruled a suicide and she was stabbed like 100 times in the back of her head. Have you ever tried to stab yourself in the back of your head and neck before? Yeah, you can't do it.
I hope not.
Just in, just as an experiment. Because I tried it. Not with a knife, but because I covered that case, and they are now have reopened Ellen Greenberg and are looking at this as a murder now, and we'll cover that later on. But when you hear stories like that, it's completely fucking ridiculous.
Yeah,
this shit, and we're all just supposed to go, oh well, you're right. This must be true.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck off! No, it is not true, and we're not stupid.
Yeah.
Why do you think true crimers exist? And it's because of this shit.
Yep.
It's because a bunch of us are like, well, we're all going to need to start screaming about this till somebody does something legitimate.
Yep. And keep everyone's feet in the fire for sure.
Oh, Amy says, I covered a case that was ruled suicide by 3 gunshots to the back of the head. 3? First of all, 1 would
Wow.
be really hard, but you think you would stay alive long enough to shoot yourself 3 times in the head?
With a functioning hand and capability of doing that? Mhm.
Ugh. Yes, Janet. Ellen Greenberg is the one who her fiance was at the gym and he
Mhm.
returned to a locked
Yeah.
apartment. Yep. Yeah.
Oh,
So
she said I say that in quotations. Yes.
yes, that is the one.
Mhm.
Okay, so let's see. Okay, we've covered all yours, right?
Yeah, I have one quick update.
Okay, I have one other thing too, but go ahead.
Here we go. Lori Vallow, Lori Daybell checked
Oh,
into the Ada County Jail at 5:51 p.m.
well, there we go.
in custody. So hopefully there's a new mugshot by tomorrow. I would assume that
Oh,
there
I'll
will
bet there
be.
is.
Yeah, I do have a little bit on our old friend Nicholas Alaverdian.
Oh, well, let's hear it. I have a couple of other small things too, but I'm always down for a good Nick Alaverdian story.
I can't leave this case alone. I'm never going to leave this case alone. And if
Someone
that
been
bitch ever
harassing
makes it
him.
to Utah,
I
we're
seen
going to
something to him
Utah.
in jail again. Right? I know. If he goes to Utah, we got to go to that. We got to go to some of his trial.
Yeah, we are taking a road trip to Utah for at least a day of this
Yeah.
what most definitively will be a belligerent herd circus.
Oh my God.
Um, he had court last week. And of course, he's still in Scotland. They're still working out the extradition stuff. It's when it's international, it takes forever, like
Yeah.
years. And this is, of course, taking years.
Yeah.
At any rate, he put up a big fight at the jail and refused to get in the prison van to take him to court. And the court said, bye bye. We don't care. We'll do it without you. So he got to just stay at jail, and they went ahead and did court without him. However, his attorney asked for an adjournment until May. The preliminary hearing is set for the 20th, but now the full extradition hearing has been moved to June 26th. It just keeps getting pushed out. But at any rate, per normal, this guy, you know.
Real shithead.
And if you don't know what we're talking about, go find our coverage on it, our initial story, Nicholas Alaverdian. But
Yeah, go
this
search
is
our
the
YouTube
guy.
channel. You'll find his
It's
name.
common spelling, yeah.
Common spell. Yeah. Alaverdian. Very, very common.
Nicholas Alahverdian was a man in the United States who lived, I believe, in New Hampshire that faked his own death because he was just about to be arrested for $200,000 worth of charges that he'd racked up on a stepfather's bunch of credit cards, as well as some sexual assaults from Utah.
Yeah.
And so he faked his own death, not very convincingly, and then moved to the UK, where it sounds like he performed some more sexual assault and then was finally arrested. The police never did believe that he was dead, let's be clear, but was finally arrested because dude got COVID and ended up in the hospital in Scotland, and his fingerprints and tattoos were identified.
Yeah. Hilarious.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it. And yes, Paula, we are going to talk about that case. It's not tonight, but we will. The dentist in Colorado who's been arrested for killing his wife.
Mm-hmm.
He's a Mormon, guys.
Yep.
You know us. We'll be covering the Mormon content. Yeah.
And he did what? Poisoned his wife.
Yeah, he surely did. And yeah, he was actually in a bishopric, I think, at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Or he had anything. Anyway, something like that. But,
Yeah,
but that's another case we'll cover
all
as a
over
full
it.
episode.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Don't you worry. Those Mormons start committing crimes. We're right on top of it. I have 2 other things. One is, although it may seem like this is never going to be solved, they're still working on the Irene Gakwa case. And we've talked about Irene Gakwa. She went missing out of Gillette, Wyoming. Nathan Heitman, her trash of a fiance, has been, is suspected, but has never been charged in anything. She has never been found. He has been arrested for some financial crimes, and it sounds like he's going to be And some of those financial crimes had to do with using her money after she went missing.
Yep.
He will be entering a guilty plea on those charges on the 28th of this month.
Yes. Yep.
So interesting. I don't know what else is going to go on with that, but we're keeping an eye because we want to know
Irene,
what
who
happened to
he
Irene.
claims moved to Texas.
Yeah.
And yet, after she disappeared, he drained her bank accounts and closed her email accounts and changed the password to her bank account.
Yeah.
Because that's what you do after your girlfriend moves. Gotcha.
You act like she's dead?
That's not weird or suspicious at all, Nathan.
No.
There are these ladies, the locals in Gillette, Wyoming, where this happened.
Yes.
And those badasses have not taken their foot off of Nathan's neck since Irene disappeared.
Yeah.
They have stalked his house. They know his comings and goings pretty much at all times. One of them wrote me one time and gave me some pretty good info about that. They know that he works from home. They know that he door dashes nearly all of his food and supplies and stuff. He very rarely leaves the house. They pretty much had his comings and goings down pat. They had a campaign recently to put signs up and down the street in all of the neighbors' yards asking Nathan where Irene is. Like, they have not let up. They've been amazing.
Yeah.
And they're still leading searches. I have huge respect for the women of Gillette. They didn't even know her.
No.
But what they know is she's
She
a
hadn't
woman
even
from
lived there
their
very
town.
long.
She hadn't. But they know that she's a woman from their town that went missing under suspicious circumstances, and they're not going to shut up about it.
Yeah, they're not having this shit because,
No.
I mean, old Nathan Hyman, mark my words, they're going to find that he had something to do with this.
Well, and she's from Kenya, and she had 2 brothers in the Boise area, but most of her family is in Kenya. So the locals knew that if they didn't stay loud, they didn't know if anybody else would or could.
Right.
You know, and her family has done all they could, but of course they
absolutely. Her
are a
brothers
long ways away. Yeah.
have done what they could. But yeah, I mean, no one else in her family lives in the Gillette area.
They're right there to represent them. Yeah.
Amy thinks we need to start a Mormon crime newsletter. We have one. It's a video. It's a vlog. It's right here. Janet says, speaking of Mormons, I'm putting a request in for Jared Bridegan. I'm not sure what that is, Janet. Maybe send it to us over in the group on Facebook.
I'm taking it note.
And we'll take a look at it. Last thing, this is a local case to us, but this is pretty interesting. 2 things. We had talked a while back about how the Bingham County coroner in Blackfoot, Idaho, had been charged with a sexual assault charge. He has been found not guilty. And he's back at work. And you know what he's doing? He's working. He's exhuming the body of a man who died on August 6th, 2021. His name is James Jimmy Roberts. And his death was ruled a suicide, a self-inflicted gunshot wound. His family has never believed it and has really questioned and put a lot of pressure on the coroner's office that this was not properly investigated. The big question is, why did Jimmy shoot himself with his non-dominant hand? And that is a big red flag in suicides with guns. People don't usually shoot themselves with their non-dominant hand. It's really hard to pull a trigger with a hand you are not used to, having more control over. So we're going to keep an eye on this and see where this goes. But just so you know, the coroner in Bingham County was found not guilty. We've talked a lot about Bingham County because that's where Craig Rowland was, the sheriff that had to step down because he assaulted that woman and kids and all that stuff that happened that we've talked about a lot. And then not long after that, this thing with this coroner happened. But he's found not guilty, and now he's trying to figure out what happened to poor Jimmy Roberts.
So we're here for it.
We are here for it. We will let you know as we see updates. So Janet says that's the Microsoft guy who was murdered with his kid in the car in Florida. The ex-wife's current husband was just arrested on murder charges. Oh, okay.
Okay.
We'll look into it.
I sent us a link.
Well, okay. Well, that's everything we have for you. We will be back in about 10 minutes. If you are a member of our YouTube channel, it is the cold read party tonight.
Mhm.
So we will be back. We want you to bring your cold cases. Remember, they need to be at least 5 years old or older. And we're going to present a case to you as well. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
And, Kat says, what is the feeling of your local population about Boyce's stand about cameras and its implication for the families of the victims and about removal of death penalty? It's not popular. None of that is popular.
Fury.
People are real mad.
I had I rarely comment on news stories because it's very much not worth your time. But today I've thought maybe it was worth it. This guy commented and said, the Judge Boyce must be a liberal because he thinks that wasting states' money is just fine in severing these cases, and taking the death penalty off the table is a real lefty thing to do.
God, are you kidding me?
And
That's
I
so
was like,
stupid.
Okay, fine. I'm an idiot and I'll dive in. So I gave him a brief explanation as to why this has absolutely nothing to do with politics. And these are the reasons why this happened, and that the judge had absolutely no choice. He laughed at my comment.
That's because he doesn't know anything about the legal system like the vast majority of people who live here.
Yeah.
It's very aggravating. Anyway, we got to take a little break, and then we will be back for the cold read party. And if you're not attending the cold read party, we will be back with all our usual stuff next week. And we are the True Crime Squad. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment. Of course, it helps us to grow. And we do appreciate tips. You can make those right over on our website at truecrimesquad.com. It does help us to drink the coffee we need to drink to do all this damn research.
There you go.
So this has been another production of the True Crime Squad. Thanks for being here, everybody.
Take care.